I'm Vincent Gallegos.
Hello, I'm Valerie Giles.
Hi, I'm Ulysses Morales.
Hi guys, my name is Alyssa. I chose to do my call to action speech on the topic of citizens should have the right to know if a sex offender is moving into their neighborhood. First, the attention step. How would you feel safe if you had no knowledge of a predator living around you? Even worse, if you have children, how would you feel? A quote by Bob Ney, who was a former American politician, said, "Yet, when child sex offenders are brought into justice and serve time for their offenses, they are often released into unsuspecting communities and left free to resume their sexual attacks." So think about that quote for a second. Unsuspecting communities. That's communities not knowing what's going on in them. Resume. That's another word that stands out to me. That means continue. Continue what? Continuing to do sexual attacks. If that quote doesn't startle you, then maybe a statistic will. About 20 million out of 112 million women in the U.S. alone have been raped during their lifetime. The need step. Citizens need to be notified. Information can be found if you do research, but who does that? Who takes the time to actually see what's going on in their neighborhood, what kind of sex offenders, or if any of them have moved into their neighborhood? Nobody really takes the time to educate themselves. There's a law that recognizes the importance of this issue, which is the RCW 9A44130, and that's the need to register if you're a sex offender. There are different tiers where sex offenders must register. There's 1 through 3, the first one being less severe, and then the second one is when they need to register for at least a year, and it could go up to 10 years. A person who has them on their caseload comes out and they just make sure that they're living at the address that they say they are, and they have to follow up every so often to make sure what they're saying is correct and where they live is where they're actually living. The satisfaction step, the only way to gain satisfaction is to go to the community notification meetings. It's important to go to these meetings because you hear what they have to say. They do these meetings because it's really important information. And a lot of the times, people who are sex offenders, they don't just post a flyer and then put it on a light, like a light post. You're not able to do that. So they have these meetings for people in the community to come together and actually listen to everything and become more knowledgeable. So knowledge is power and safety. Neighborhood watch. So there's people who have gone to these meetings and are able to watch around the neighborhood, whether that being them being in their house and they just have the windows open. They're able to see what's going on outside. They're able to see like kids who are walking to their bus stop, let's say, or even like a woman who is walking their dog early in the morning or late at night. There's always eyes watching, so more than 2 eyes is always better than one set of eyes. So they all keep an eye out for each other. The visualization step. A home should be the safest place on earth. How could you assure a safe home if you have no idea who moves into your neighborhood? Some may feel leery about being notified about a sex offender moving into their neighborhood. But what's worse, to not have any knowledge or to feel leery but also know what to do to protect yourselves and your family. People have no control over who moves into their neighborhood as long as the requirements are met. So a sex offender has certain requirements when they move into a certain house. They have to be so many feet away from a school or so many feet away from like children and stuff like that. So once they meet all those requirements, they're able to live wherever they want. So it's important for the sex offender to get on a registry And those people are the ones who have committed and served a sentence, who has went to jail and stuff for the sex act. We need to know that a sex predator will prey on the weak and the young and the vulnerable. It is our job to stay aware, stay educated, and stay safe. With that being said, the action step. Public records are there for us. We could access them anytime. But a counterclaim for those who are against this would be, it's a violation of HIPAA. It's a violation of their rights. It may do more harm than good. The sex offenders could become a target for those who don't want them living in their neighborhood, or who are upset even though it has nothing to do with them or their family or anything. But those type of acts are really big to people. So those are some counterclaims that could be the reason why a notification shouldn't be sent to a neighborhood. Yet those may be putting the sex offender at risk, all those different counterclaims. But think about who they violated to get that charge in the first place. What risks did they think about before committing the crime? The community is innocent, the perpetrator is not. It is important to notify the community of a potential harm. I know as a mother, I will do anything to protect my kids. And I know a lot of mothers and fathers and people who have families will do the same thing. Sex predators do not only attack children, but women and men. Everyone is at risk. It is essential to take precaution. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is safety. Be aware. It'll help you sleep better at night. And like I said before, citizens have the right to know if a sex offender is moving into their neighborhood. And that is my call to action speech.